Let's be honest. When people see disability, they often think about the physical side, the wheelchair, the crutches, the medical appointments. But there's a side most people never see. There's that quiet side, the mental health battles, those battles that comes with disabilities. That's, these are the hidden struggles, the challenges that most people find very difficult talking about. It is overwhelming. It can be a difficult subject, but there's one that needs to be spoken about anyway. Hello and welcome to InspireAbility. I am Ruby, and in today's episode, we'll be talking about mental health as a disabled person, the silent struggles, the emotional highs and lows, and most importantly, how to find balance and support when life feels heavy, when it feels thick, as if you've been overwhelmed by a very thick, dark cloud. We're addressing this today. The truth is, living with disabilities can be exhausting, not just on the body, but on the mind and the soul. And a person is not just their body, they are made of their mind, their soul, their spirit. So, as the body feels exhausted, the mind and the soul can go through the same. This might be invincible, might not be seen, might not be what people can just look at and know you are exhausted in your mind, in your soul, but it is part of you, and it's important we address this as we go along our disabilities discussions on this channel. It's crucial that when you turn up on this page, you're turning up all and well because we're building a community of old and well, thriving disabled people. And of course, those going along the journey with them, also thriving and being well. So if you've ever felt invincible, overwhelmed, or like no one really understands, I want you to know you are not alone. Or it's a common thing for us disabled people to feel like this. I recall that when my accident happened, I thought the biggest challenge would be my physical recovery. The focus for me was walking, the pain, the aches, the battering, and the trauma that my body had gone through. And of course, I was pregnant, so nursing and carrying a baby to term. Those were my greatest worries and the things I woke up focusing on. I thought learning how to move again, adapt, keep going. I thought those were the major challenges I had to face. But I didn't realize that the real battle, the core of the matter, the crux of me being well again would happen. That stronghold, the strong battle would happen in my mind. I just didn't think of it at the time. But I came to realize quite shockingly that the role my mind played in my recovery journey was very, very important. And it could affect the physical recovery. If the mind is sick, the whole body can become sick. At the time, I was thinking of recovering my body, and I let my mind suffer. The nights were the hardest. Everyone would go to bed, and I would lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking, is this my life now? How do I go on? Bubbly, lively, chatty, go getter, so much ambition, aspirations. I had too many of them going at the time. I just couldn't see how I would be myself again. So I lay awake with those thoughts. I lay awake with those challenges. I went through waves of emotion. Those emotions were just, it was like an avalanche. They just came sweeping at me. There was the anger, there was the sadness, there was the fear, there was the the doubts, there was the why me, there was the God, what were you doing? What were you looking at? How? There were so many things that I had to go through. The frustration, the the sadness. There were so many, so many. And the thing was, I remember smiling in public, trying to keep it all together, looking calm, cool, and calculated. But inside, I was feeling broken. The pressure to be strong all the time, especially when people kept saying, "You're so brave," or "You're such an inspiration." It made me feel as if I needed to prove I was strong and that nothing could shake me and I could still do things the way I used to. But those comments made it actually harder because I thought if they only knew how I really am, how tired, how frustrated, how angry I felt. And I began to feel as if I was an hypocrite. I was living a double life where I was smiling but weeping inside. Is it when I'm having excruciating pain that my body is screaming on the inside and people outside are telling me well done and applauding me and clapping for me and I'm smiling through pains and aches that only me could see, only me could feel? It is a difficult place to be, and I'm sure you've probably gone through it similar. Then came the guilt. I began to feel if all these people think I'm a positive person, which have always been all my life, very positive, then why am I always not positive anymore? Why am I dripping down the hole of negativity? I began to feel guilt over feeling down and feeling tired. When others are saying, you should be grateful you survived, you should be grateful your daughter is alive. So all of those comments made me feel, why? What is wrong with you? Why are you not feeling so gracious, so grateful? Why are you feeling so dejected when you should be up and about, upbeat about everything? At least you're alive. At least there's still something to you. At least you can still move around. At least there's still something compared to somebody that is all gone. It took me a long time to learn that acknowledging pain, acknowledging my situation isn't weakness, it's honesty. The honesty I needed for me and for my loved ones that were looking after me. One day, I broke down completely, and I've gone through several times of that I had to break down in the years that followed. I'm a praying person. I couldn't pray, I couldn't focus, I couldn't do nothing. I just cried. I just wept. I just poured out those tears because it was like a dichotomy or something else is happening inside of me, but the expectations outside were very different. And in that stillness, something shifted. I realized that pretending to be okay wouldn't help me heal. My mind, my soul, my emotions had to heal, and pretense would not get me there. I realized that being honest about where I was and what I needed for my recovery would actually be the start of the process. But if I kept pretending, it would take a long time, very long time, for me to recover from my situation. So let's talk about what mental health really means for a disabled person and how we can take care of our minds as intentionally as we take care of our bodies. A lot of us focus on this is what the therapists have said, this is what the doctors have said, I must do these exercises twice daily, I must eat this meal, I must attend this. So we do all of those things for our bodies. But how can we take care of the mind? Because as the mind heals, the body would align as well. Acknowledge the invincible weight. That's the first thing. We need to get to a point of acknowledgement. Now, disability does not just change what we can do, It changes how we see ourselves and how others see us. I'm sure you've listened to some of my previous episodes where I've said when you become disabled, some people that even respected you before, especially my community society, my own ethnic community, it might be you just see that you lose some sense of worth and respect from people that really valued you and people that looked up to you because they feel you're now a lesser person because of your disabilities. So it changes how you see yourself because you saw yourself as someone that could rise, go, do things like I did, and all of a sudden you can't do those things anymore. So there's a shift, and that shift can be so painful. It can hurt, it can break you because you're not who you used to be. And it's obvious to you, it's obvious to everybody. So, but you need to get to a point of acknowledgement. Yes, I am not who I used to be. Maybe you used to work full time and it was okay, but now you can't. Maybe you used to move in a social circle like mine that was large and big. I went to several things. I was volunteering. I was a senior manager. I had a big network of people, but gradually my social circle shrunk completely. One, some people don't know how to relate with me, especially my own ethnic community. How do they deal with this new, different person? It was just a surprise for them. And sometimes I don't also know how to relate to them because the roles have shifted. I was the one they depended on a lot of times previously, but now I can't play that role anymore. I was the brain behind a lot of activities, a lot of events. I was the organizer, the coordinator. I rallied everyone together, brought up the brilliant idea, organized. So I was that person. And it has come to a point where I can't. I just can't do all of those things. Yes, I still have my brains. I could still think the ideas up, but I don't have the energy, the strength, and the physical ability to do all the things that could make things work. And now I drop down tired, fatigued very easily in excruciating pain. So I can't even stay on the phone, chatting people up, connecting, linking up again, and making sure everybody did what they were meant to do. It's a huge sense of loss, huge sense of loss of identity. And I want you to acknowledge that it is real. It is real. For me, acknowledging that pain, the realness of the change in my circumstance and in my person was actually the first step. I had to give myself permission to grieve what I'd lost. Yes, I had lost a few things. I'd lost my independence. I'd lost my routines. I'd lost my former self. I'd lost my social network. I'd lost my position in society. I'd lost my the way I used to generate income. I'd lost everything. I'd lost so many vital things that made me me. I needed to accept that. I needed to acknowledge this. Because if you do not face it, it will start building up very silently inside of you. And it would eventually wreak havoc when you're not looking. You need to acknowledge this change. You're not your former self, and you probably never would be again. You need to learn to acknowledge this to move forward to the next step in your recovery. I want to say this very, very clearly. Your feelings are valid. The grief, the frustration, the anger, the fear, the sadness, the aches, the pains from the loss, they are very valid, completely valid. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. They are not signs of weakness. Actually, they are part of your healing process. So embrace them, acknowledge them, because they're the very first step to you healing. The second thing I would say is recognize when you need help. There's a kind of strength in saying, I'm not okay right now. For too long, I thought I had to just say, I'm okay, I'm all right, I'm getting along. I felt I had to just try to push things through, try to work harder, pray harder, improvise. I just had to find a way of being my old self. But mental health doesn't work that way, not at all. Even me as a faith person, my faith and therapy can coexist beautifully. But I need to learn how to understand the fact that I need support mentally and I shouldn't just push things through because I had to fit into the mold of my old self and the mold of what the society expects me to be. Oh, it took me a very tough time getting to the point of recognizing and appreciating and understanding what I am telling you today. I remember reaching a point where my anxiety was so heavy, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat properly anymore. It was having a toll on me. It was horrible. I had to seek help. I'm talking to a counselor who understood disabilities. It actually helped me. He opened up that space that at the time I did not know I needed, but I was desperately in need of such space. Somebody that knew about disabilities and could help me, could listen, could help me name those feelings, could help me recognize them, acknowledge them before we could then think of a plan to manage them. It wasn't easy, especially like I always say, because I try to make this very holistic. I live in the UK, so I'm from a very Western culture, but I also know that my own ethnic minority group view things slightly differently, and mental health is a taboo. Now, if you're disabled and you now have mental health struggles, that's double taboo, double stigma you have going for you. So you can imagine the state I was in, and you in that cocoon all by yourself. You couldn't express it because it will be frowned out. Now there's something to frown out already. Then you're giving them double bullets to shoot you down, and you feel so overwhelmed by it, which increases the overwhelm for a disabled person from an ethnic minority background where mental health issues are already taboo and disabilities are taboos. Two major taboos coming together, it can be tough. There's always one reason or the other why you became disabled. There has to be something you've done or not done, or somebody has done or not done. So, working through that and then having to face the emotional struggles with disability can be hard. So, I would say can be like me, I will ignore society and reach out to a therapist, a peer support group, your GP, your doctor, somebody that can listen and help. And if you're a fit person like me, bring it all together before God very honestly. He's not afraid of your questions, he's not afraid of our sadness, he's not afraid of our exhaustions. He always loves us to speak to him very honestly. This helps me as a person. I learned to just present how I was. God, I'm pissed off today. God, I'm so frustrated. God, I'm so sad. I still go through those phases and I still always bring everything together. So as I speak to God about my situation, I look through the scriptures to help myself, which I'll talk about later. But I also make sure I seek professional support. These can live beautifully together. So let us, especially if you are from my background and from a religious setting like I am, there's so many things if you're not careful where your society and your social environment can work against your recovery. You need to carefully break free from this and get the best support and care you need. remind myself of words from the Bible that encouraged me, like the grace of God being sufficient for me, things like that. Something that gives me strength, that makes me feel as if, yes, it's okay to be weak because strength can be found in weaknesses. And being weak today does not mean you will stay weak forever. And it's okay to go through challenges and struggles. I look for those things to keep me going, to keep me radiant, even when everything else is saying no to me. Sometimes you feel like just giving in, and it's okay as well to feel like that. Just giving up and just saying, do you know what? And I'm just going to hand it here. I won't bother about it. I'm just going to lie down in bed all day long and not worry about recovery. Yes, we do feel like that sometimes. I must tell you, as much as I've gone a long way in my recovery, there are days that my physical health knocks me off and I feel like screaming and shouting and pulling my hair out of frustration. So if I can still go through it, I do understand. But those weak points don't make you fully who you are. It's a part of you that you just walk through and come out the other side stronger. That's what I want to encourage you to do. Another thing I would say is build a support network. Mental health recovery isn't a solo project. Find people who get it. Now, listen, you must find people who get it. That is more difficult in my own social circles. It's more difficult in my social circle. It's more difficult in my own societal, ethnic environment. But you need to look for people who get it. If you have to move away from your local community to at least to an extent to get the support you need, please do. But whether it's the friend, whether it's the family member, the mentor, the online disability group, anything that would help you, please go for it. Like I said, I needed to shift away from relationships because I knew that if I stayed in them, I'll be too focused on what the society expected of me and not focused on my own healing and my recovery. And it would have taken me longer or maybe never. So please reach out to the person who gets it, the community who understands and can provide you with that support. I joined some support group I online for people with long-term conditions. And when you hear other people share those type of frustrations, share their joy, so you just feel like you're not alone. You feel part of something. And it makes you realize, okay, so this struggle is not peculiar to me. And it's just something in you that is hard to explain. And when you laugh about this, healing can come from laughter through shared stories, shared struggles, shared challenges, through simply being understood. So when you tell your own story, you see the other person nodding, and the other person say, "Yes, actually, I went through this the other day. Oh, how did you overcome it?" And they share their stories. Then you learn, you heal, you grow together, you laugh together, and you cry together if there's a need for it. So if you are struggling, please find your tribe. There are a group of people out there that actually fit into you. Make them your tribe. They are your tribe. Connect with them. Let them in. Let them help you walk this journey. You don't have to explain everything. You don't have to be their best friends if you don't want to. But come together and help yourselves in the way that is comfortable for all parties involved. And sometimes just being heard is enough for some people. Completely enough for them to be heard, for them to be understood, and for them to just be listened to. If that is you, look for your tribe, people that will just listen and give you a hug at the end of the meeting. If that's all you need, please go for it. Your tribe is out there, they're waiting for you. Find them and be part of them. This next bit is crucial. Protect your peace daily. Protect your peace daily. Managing mental health isn't a one time fix. You would have heard me say, oh, I've gone through this and I keep going through it. It's not a one time fix, it's a rhythm. Some days you'll feel unstoppable, other days not so much. Some days you feel as if, yes, I'm on top of it, I'm happy, I'm thriving, yes, I'm at the peak. And some days you feel as if you've gone all the way down. And this is okay as well because it is reading, it's a journey with its ups and downs. We just need to walk through them each day, but make sure each day you find a way of protecting your peace. For me, my reading includes, and that's for me personally. Oh, I always start my day with my morning reflections, my morning prayers. Before I touch my anything, I would listen to messages, I would pray, I would try to write things down that I'm thankful for or insight I got during my meditation. All of those things, I do not joke with them. Once I'm able to get this fixed and done in the morning, my day always takes a path where it will be difficult for anything to shake me off my pivotal point. I do take breaks. At times, anybody looking for me on WhatsApp will never find me. If I need to step away from social media, I'll be the first person to step away from it. I don't bend to the demands of, oh, this person has messaged you, you have to DM them, respond to them. No, that's not me. If I need to step away, if I need to do something different, I can step away for weeks, sometimes months, and nobody will hear from me on any social media network. It works for me. If I need it, then I do it. I also listen to music. I love music. It strengthens me. And the fun fact is, I don't sing beautifully, or I've been told, but I listen a lot to music and I sing shouting to myself, singing very out loud, enjoying myself when I sing those praise, those worship songs. Irrespective of what anybody thinks of how I sing, I still sing anyway because it makes me happy. So I do those things. And when my anxiety hits a peak, when I'm anxious about something, when something has happened, you'll see me bring out my playlist and play something that will make me dance. Yes, I do dance in my wheelchair. You need to see my children. I'm having a laugh at my dance moves on my wheelchair and recording my mysterious ways of dancing on my wheelchair. Yes, I do move my body and shake on my wheelchair. If anything, to move away from that anxious state, to move away from that overexcitement that can bring me into a deep awe, anything. And if it means playing songs I love and enjoy, I just groove into them and getting all the negativity out of my system. If that's what it takes on that day, then I'll go for it. Whilst there are times it's a different approach I'll take. So it's just knowing yourself and knowing what works for each situation and being able to adapt where you need to make that change and being able to then embrace that moment and look for ways of getting out of the deep hole before you sink in too deep and it's difficult to get out of it. So I would encourage you, please protect your peace daily. Look for what works for you. Your version might be very different from mine, and that's okay. Create your moments, create things that fill your soul, that refines you, that refreshes you, that refuels you, that does not drain you, that does not swap you of your energy, of your strength. but that gives you the boost you need at those times when you find yourself dropping down low. Look for what works for you and try to do that. Redefine strength. So many of us have been taught that strength means never breaking down, but that's not true. Strength is saying, I'm struggling, I'm still showing up. It's saying, I cried today, but I'm still going to try again tomorrow. And if all you did today was wake up, breathe, and exist, that's still progress, and that is fine as well. You're still worthy, you're still enough, you're still a perfect human being. It's okay. But you can't do anything. There are days I wake up, I try to have a bath, and the next thing is back to bed. Yes, even when I try attempt to do anything, I can't anyway, and it's still very fine. It's still okay. Days like that, I've learned to embrace them and to know that yes, I'll wake up again and try tomorrow. That's what makes the difference. And I do want to speak from my heart right now. If you're watching or you're listening and you're in that dark place where your mind feels heavy and your all feels small, I have been there. That place where you feel all alone. You feel like, would there be tomorrow for me? Yes, I'll wake up, but what's the point? Tomorrow does not hold anything substantial. Tomorrow does not hold any significance, any true meaning to me. Oh, I've been there, and I'm sure a lot of other people have been there as well. You're not alone, and I can tell you, it doesn't stay dark forever. The storm often pass. Oh, they do pass. The light would return. It might be slow for some of us. It might be slow, but gently. It does return. So don't think that darkness is forever. If you make up your mind that it's not forever, then it won't be. Don't get up on your own if you can't. Reach out for help. Pray if you're someone of faith like me and you can't. Because there are times I cannot even pray. I was journaling today. The last few days have been a struggle to pray. There are times it's even hard. And that's okay as well. Rest when you must. Trust that your story isn't over. Because even in the silence, you can still find strength. There's strength there. Just reach out and try to find it. I encourage myself with Bible verses. I look for promises. I'm a faith person, so it helps me. It's kind of like my affirmation, my mantra. So I want you to look for what works for you. Speak those truths to yourself daily. Look for what helps you to feel valued, to feel grounded, and embrace those. And look for ways of making sure you don't stay in the dark zone for too long. There's help out there. There are amazing, wonderful, helping people, very helpful out there. And they're willing to embrace you. They're willing to help you through the journey. So please do not suffer alone. Do not suffer in silence. Reach out. There are wonderful people in this community as well that you can reach out to. And you can share your burdens with them. And you'll be surprised at how things can move on if you do make the effort to heal your body, walk your mind, your soul through the process as you're walking your body through your healing and recovery process. You'll be amazed at the changes, the quick progress you'll make when you embrace an holistic approach to the recovery process. Now, Thank you so much for being part of today's Inspirability conversation. If this has touched you in any way, please like, share, and subscribe. Because there's someone out there who needs to know that they are not alone either. They need to know that you've gone through what they're probably going through and that your story can help them find ways out of their own deep hole. Leave a comment below. Let us know what help you've taken to help you with your mental health. What keeps you grounded on very tough, hard, difficult days when you feel like you're going down the rabbit hole into that pit so dark and gloomy and lonely. Let us know what you do and how you get yourself back on your feet to then live another day. As always, remember, we don't just survive, we thrive together in this community. Let us always share. And this is Inspirability. I am Ruby. I will try to stay consistently, uniquely us. Irrespective of what our disabilities are. We are unique. We are wonderful. I am uniquely me. You are uniquely you. So let's keep thriving to make sure we live our unique lives. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Bye.